Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Hannah, and I was just saying that, I feel like the last video that I uploaded is about life advice. And today is a little bit about life advice. We're going to be talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness. I feel like that's a good topic. So let's talk about forgiveness. I think forgiveness is to forgive, the other person, but I also really believe that forgiveness is for you and your heart as well. It's great to forgive people, but it's also for yourself. But let's just reflect a little bit about my experiences about forgiveness. I think forgiveness is hard. I think it's not easy to forgive somebody. Usually when you forgive somebody, it's difficult. Why is it so difficult? It's difficult because they have caused you pain, or maybe suffering, or have hurt you, or you feel betrayed, right? So when you feel hurt, sometimes you hurt other people, and then you hold on to that grudge, you hold on to the anger, you hold on to the sadness, you hold on to basically that toxicity that's going on in your life, and you hold on to it. And from my personal experience, I know that I was holding on to a lot. I was holding on to anger, I was holding on to frustration, I was holding on to the pain, I was holding on to the betrayal, I was holding on to the grudge, basically. And the sad thing about that is I became really bitter. And when I talk about it, I think about my heart, and I think about I was very bitter. I was unhappy. I was upset and angry. And man, when I talked about that person, unfortunately, the words that came the words that came out of my mouth were not good things to say. It was disgusting of me to say, and I don't want to be that person. I don't want to talk about people in that way. That's not who I am. I was definitely acting out of character, and I know I'm better than that, and I know you're better than that. And I was like, I will no longer have a bitter heart. I will no longer have a hateful heart. I will no longer have this pain and suffering to control my life no more. I was done with it at this point. I think I was living with that for about 3 months, which you're probably like, 3 months is not that long, but pretty long. But I know some of us hold on to grudges for years, for 1 year, for 2 years, for 5 years, for 10 years. And I'm here to tell you that it's time to let go. It's time to forgive, and it's time to move forward, or it's time to move on, right? So with me, I had to dig deep because it's not easy to forgive. It wasn't easy for me to forgive. In general, it's not easy. And I had a really hard time. But I remember one day I was like, I'm done. I'm done holding on to this anger. I'm done holding on to this bitterness. I want the Lord to soften my heart. I want Him to come into my life. And, I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live like that anymore. And if you guys are believers, you're supposed to love your friends, love your neighbors, but you're also supposed to love your enemies as well. And you're like, what the heck does that mean? So just as you pray for your friends or your family, you pray for your enemies as well. And you pray for them and their well-being. So let me just backtrack just a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. I just remember that day, and I just was listening to the most beautiful song I've ever heard of. It's called Peace, and I will leave it down below for you guys to listen to or to hear it. And it was the most beautiful song I've ever heard that truly touched my heart at that moment. And I just started to pray. And I just told God, I don't want to live with this anger. I don't want to live with this sadness. I don't want to live with this pain no more. I am done. I am moving forward. I am forgiving those that have hurt me, and I will no longer live in this bitterness. And oh man, best decision I've ever made. I just remember praying, and like honestly, the weight lifted off my shoulders, and I am in such a better place now. And I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful because I was able to forgive those that have hurt me. And I want you to forgive those that have hurt you, because trust me, you don't want to live with that toxicity in your life. You don't want to live with anger. And you might not even realize that you are living in it. Um, and I was like, you know what? I can't do this no more. So I am so glad. And anytime I think about, those people who have hurt me, or maybe it was a family member, maybe it was a really good friend, maybe it's someone who you love very much, they hurt you, and you need to forgive. Take that deep breath, right? It's time to forgive. And yeah, it's for them, right? But it's also for you, for your life, for your peace. I know in my life, all I want is peace and happiness and doing what I want to do, right? I don't want to live in that bitterness anymore. I do not live in that bitterness anymore. Thank God I don't live in that bitterness no more. And it was so funny because I was listening to this pastor, a preacher, and I like listening or watching the Westover app. It's a great app. You can watch, the sermons live. And it was so funny because he said, you got to pray for your enemies. And he was talking about relationships. And I was like, oh, this is a good sermon. And I was like, you know what? Anytime that those thoughts, right? Because those intruding thoughts just come and they like want to take over, right? They say like, oh, they hurt you. Oh, they caused you pain for so long. And then you think about the situation or whatever happened, and you want to go back to like that bitterness and anger, but you gotta say, no, no, that's not who I am. And you just pray for them. And I pray for them in a way of like, I hope they're doing well. I ask God to, bless their life. And I just pray that they're doing well, and pray for anybody in the situation. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go back to that hateful bitterness heart. I'm not doing that. And I don't want you to do that either. So if you have been betrayed, which I'm sure a lot of us have, if you have been hurt, and I know you're probably like, but Hannah, you have no idea what they did to me. You have no idea. I don't know. And but who does know? God knows. He knows what's going on. He knows what they did to you. And the beautiful thing about having a relationship with God or the Lord or whoever your God or the Lord is, you can cast your burdens, your worries, your stress, the unknown, and you can give it to God. And you can say, Lord, I don't know what to do about this situation, but I'm going to leave it up to you, and He's going to take care of it. And that's what I always do. I'm like, Lord, there is a sticky situation. I pray and I give it up to Him, and I just pray for peace and calmness, because you really don't want to say something and act out of character that you might say at that moment, but you don't really mean it. So, you guys, I just wanted to come on here really quickly and talk about forgiveness and talk about the beauty of forgiveness. And, if you have been dealing with something in your life, I'm so sorry. I know life is difficult. I know it can be hard. And just know that you can always pray about it. Or maybe you're not a believer, but you can just let go, move on, move forward. Whether you cut that person out of your life or not is not for me to decide. It's for you to decide. It's for you to forgive. It's for you to move on. It's for you to move forward. I hope this video was helpful in any sort of way. I know this topic isn't easy to talk about. I mean, forgiveness is not easy. It can be very difficult for us, especially if you're a stubborn person. I'm a very, very stubborn person. And let me just tell you guys from experience, I feel so much better. I've moved on, I've moved forward. And the thing about you living in that toxicity, in that bitterness, if you're holding on to that grudge, it ages you and you don't even realize it. But I believe 100% that anger and toxicity can age a person fast, really fast. And nobody should live with that. And you shouldn't have to live with that. And I'm telling you, you don't need to live with that. You can forgive those that have hurt you and you can move on. You can be the bigger person and forgive. And you know what? They may say, I don't even need your forgiveness or whatever the situation is. And you can just know that you have done the right thing and you can move on and move forward. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked this video and if you like life advice, please drop it down in the comments below and let me know what you want to hear from me next. I hope this was helpful. I know it's not easy to talk about forgiveness and being honest with ourselves and reflecting on the choices that we've made. But I'm telling you, it's totally life-changing. I hope you have a great day. And until next time, I will see you guys very soon.